Want to know the easy way to make sure you reach your painting goals in 2024? If you're serious about making this the year that you finally make paintings that you are really proud of, that don't feel amateurish, but instead really embody the ideal blend of your own self-expression and a loose painterly style, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps to take you from stuck or stagnant in your oil painting process all the way to the point where you are making paintings that are painterly and expressive without sacrificing likeness or realism. And not only will you be able to create these pieces on demand, you'll be confident that you can make them over and over again so that you can have the artist life that you have been wanting this year. Today, I'm in the studio getting ready for the new year myself. I'm varnishing paintings, putting finished pieces up for sale on my website, and planning for the new year. So feel free to join in your own end-of-year studio cleanup, or take some notes as I go through each step so that you can brainstorm how to customize each step here to your unique goal. And by the way, if you want to bring these or any other paintings you've seen me make here on YouTube into your collection, check out all of my available work over on chelsealang.com. I'll have a link in the description, as I always do in these videos, so even if you don't pick up something today, but instead see something, a few YouTube videos in the future that you would really love to have, you can always follow that link and see if that piece is available over on my site. Diving right into these steps, what is the very first thing that you need to reach your oil painting goals in 2024? Well, it's knowing what your goal is for 2024. And more to the point, what your big goal for your painting is in general. The biggest pitfall that I see is painters saying, I want to paint in my voice, or I want to paint in a way that's loose but realistic. These are good starts, but they leave a lot of questions unanswered. So the most helpful exercise that I recommend, that I do for myself, and that I have all of my students do, is create a vision board for your goal paintings. This gives you a multitude of examples of precisely what sort of paintings your dream body of artwork should look like. It speaks to questions of composition, color design, brushwork, the exact subjects that you should be painting, and just about every other detail that you could consider. For a step-by-step walkthrough of how me and my students do this to get clear on our goals, check out this recent YouTube video in the upper right-hand corner after you finish this one. I'll also link it at the very end so that after you finish watching through this one, you can simply click right through to continue on. And once you know precisely where you're taking your artwork in 2024, the next step is getting outside support. While this step isn't necessarily critical to ensure that you reach your goal, it's going to speed up the process to the point where reaching your big goals inside of a year becomes much more doable and much easier. This can take a couple of different forms. So one way to get support is through a community of like-minded artists. They may not be your teachers, but instead are about where you are on the journey. Ideally, they would also have similar tastes to you or want to paint similar things so that you can not only paint together sometimes, but also you can really trust one another with the expertise that each of you has and talk in a way where you can truly share ideas and give one another feedback. While these people may not become teachers for you, having people to connect with about art whose opinions you respect and value and whose company you enjoy is huge. Consider this. If you're stuck on a painting but are so close to it that you just can't tell what's wrong anymore, you may not need an expert to diagnose the issue. Maybe you just need someone who has a bit of distance from the frustration that you're feeling to help get you back on track. Or maybe you have a pretty good flow going with your work, but you notice that you're not in the studio as much as you would like because it's day after day of nothing but you and your easel, and painting with other people could really give you the boost to be truly consistent in the long haul. Another form that support can take is a mentor, someone who specializes in finding the exact gaps between your current ability and your goal and knows how to prescribe individual painting exercises to help you to overcome the roadblocks. Not to mention someone who will encourage you and keep you accountable throughout the whole journey. I have an entire video on how to find a great painting mentor that I will link above. And if you're interested in getting to work with me as a mentor and get a community of like-minded artists in the process who are in this journey with you for 2024, check out the links in the description to find out more about working together with me and apply to see if we might be a fit to work together. Once you know your goal and you have support to make sure that you get there, the next step is to troubleshoot your weaknesses. The best way to see this clearly is to look at your work side by side with the vision board that you assembled in step 1. You can assess differences in how you make your marks, the colors you choose, your control of your values, the precision of your drawing, as well as the subjects that you paint and how you compose them this way. And once you know what the differences are, the next step is to prescribe a plan to address each one of those skill gaps that's standing in your way of painting the way that you want to paint. Maybe you spend a while working on bark drawings or other measuring techniques to ensure that you capture a likeness consistently, or you put yourself through a color mixing boot camp to make sure that you know your palette inside and out and know how to control it to get the exact harmonies that you want in your paintings. This is why it can be so helpful to have a community, or even better, a mentor. Even if you're lucky enough to know exactly what has to be addressed in your work, you probably don't know exactly what exercises are best for addressing them, or else you probably would have already done them. That being said, if you do want to DIY your journey, doing this step should give you a jumping off point that is at least in the right direction so that you can trust that you aren't going to spin your wheels when you put in that effort at your easel. It should also give you more clarity than you had before about the direction you're headed in and how that should align with what you're doing. And the final step to make sure that you reach your goal of making paintings that you're proud of in 2024 is to find a sustainable studio routine where you put in the practice with all of these exercises until you have all of the skills necessary to paint the way that you really want to paint. The sustainability here is paramount because if you go too hard, you are liable to burn out before you actually make the progress that you're looking for. So I recommend blocking off time on a regular basis that removes the most friction from getting into the studio and allows you to really look forward to that time. For me, that means that I spend an entire day with no other obligations, preferably after a weekend of recharging. So Monday is my dedicated studio day each week, where I'm not allowed to have other appointments or admin tasks. I may paint more than just Monday each week, but I don't want to set myself up to fail by telling myself that I have to paint every day. So if I do paint other days, amazing, but consistency is more important here than anything else, including frequency. I'd rather paint once a week for 6 months and feel continually excited to get into the studio versus painting every day for a month and feeling exhausted and burnt out for the following 5 months. Another thing that you can do to really help to make this time sustainable is identify what's going to get you excited to start. This can be something like a little routine that you have before you dive into a painting. Maybe it's putting on music or cleaning your brushes. Maybe it's inviting someone over from your community to paint alongside you. But there's really two sides of this that we need to consider. What energizes you to get into the studio and a pace that is sustainable where you aren't going too hard or asking yourself to do this work too often. When you find that balance, you're really going to be set up for success. Let me know in the comments what your big painting goals are for 2024. And if you have a goal that you are really committed to and you don't want to leave getting there up to chance, follow the links in the description to reach out to me to see if we would be a great fit to work together. I look forward to hearing from you. Here's to you reaching your big painting goals in 2024. Until then, happy painting.